Right, boys, look, if you're following the channel, I've been talking completely about flat or jumps, and now I'm going to focus on the flat. I've had a few videos prepared before, I just didn't get around to actually making them and putting them up, so sorry about this, because I'm going to give you horses that I feel that are worth looking at this year, and already two have ran. One of them has run twice and won twice, and the other one has run twice and was poor enough, to be honest. Look, we're going to go through. I'll just have a quick run through. I'm going to give you my anti-post selections for the classics and the big races that are priced up, obviously. Yeah, let's get on to the flat season anyway. I love both the jumps and the flat. Preferably, I would be over the jumps if I had to pick, but it's very close. We'll start off with the 2,000 guineas. Yeah, we'll start off 2,000, and then I'll give you my selections for anti-post. And then I'll give you the horses that I like to follow this year. Look, it's only one winner. It's too darn hot. I hope 10 Sovereigns runs or whatever, but I hope they stick him to sprinting. I hope he just stays to sprinting, because he's an absolute machine. I think, yeah, just keep him to sprinting. Other than that, I can't see anything beating too darn hot. I know Magna Grecia is lined up for this race. I don't think he's good enough. Advertised a serious horse last year, but I don't think he is good enough over the mile to beat Too Darn Hot. Too Darn Hot is just a serious horse, and that's really it. I'm not going to dwell too much on that. Move on to the 2,000 guineas now. Sorry, or the 1,000 guineas. Sorry, boys. Just I'm a bit messed up in the head this morning. I'm all over the shop. And look, for me, the horse of the season last year was Skitter Scatter. I absolutely love this horse. If I hadn't made the videos earlier on, we would have had a fucking field day with a Skitter Scatter. I know I did anyway. Hopefully you did. And I think 8-1 I see now, best price for around that for the guineas. I think it's a great price. I think it's like, how could Fairyland is an absolute sprinter. If they want to bring her up to the mile and if she's good enough, fair enough. I love Fairyland as well. But for me, Skitter Scatter is just at the mile, she's a different animal, or hopefully she can step up to it. I know she went to John Knox, and I know John Knox isn't really in the best of form of what he was. Maybe it's just because he didn't have the horses, or maybe it's just not happening for him. Hopefully it's just more to do that he didn't have the horses, and I hope Skitter Scatter does not be burdened by this. Look, John Knox is a great man and all, but look, everyone has their off days, and I feel he's had a bit. Hopefully he can get her right and keep her going. Lady Kaya now, lads. Boys, she ran over in Leopardstown there over the weekend, and she bolted up. She always flew away. Just to go back, yeah, well, we won't dwell too much on that, because that will give it away. Yeah, other than that, I think Just Wonderful probably be better than Fairyland over the Guineas trip. I think Just Wonderful could step up to 1.25 miles. I don't know, I just have a feeling a mile is probably her best, and 1.25 miles might just bring up, she might be good enough over the 1.25 miles. Other than that, I don't think Iridescence is good enough. Goddess, I would have had her for the Oaks, only that I think Aidan in the stable tour said she mightn't be good enough, right enough for the classics, and she got injured and all, so I don't know. Yeah, other than that, Pretty Pollyanna is a decent horse, but I don't think there is anything really. You'd have to really wait until see what comes up for them. Moving on then to the Oaks. Oaks is kind of cut up. I think Happen ran a very good race over the weekend. Maybe she could win the Oaks, but I don't know. It's too early to call, really. My selection would have been Goddess, but it's too early now. The Derby, for me, boys, look, the Derby is it's a challenging one. It's a challenging one. I know Too Darn Hot is an absolute machine, and if he does win the Guineas, I think they might stick to the mile with him. I know there's a mile race in Royal Ascot as well, so they might just keep him at that and then step him up later on in the season. I think the Derby mightn't be on the agenda just because he's so fast over the mile. For me, it's Japan. I think Japan. Look, I tipped them back at 40-1, but obviously the video is not up now. It's up. The video has only been made now. Sorry. Yeah, and he's only 10-1 now. 10-1 is decent price, but again, it's mainly and the fact that if Too Darn Horse shows up. Other than that, I think Anthony Van Dyke is still worth keeping on the side. I think 7 furlongs was too short for him. I was looking at Champions Weekend. I was all over Corto to beat him because he's not a 7 furlong horse. It was too quick for him, too quick. He was off the bridle the whole way. That's really my selection anyway. I know Mad Moon ran and he kind of fluffed his lines again, but it was the first time out. And he was against a machine in the horse, of a horse that we will talk about at the end of the video. Right, we've previewed the classics so far. I'm just going to have, obviously, still the St. Leger. And for me, the St. Leger is kind of up in the arms at the moment. I could see Norway. There is another horse I'm not thinking of right now at the moment. But there is another Aidan O'Brien horse that's going to be set out, I think, for the Leger. I think it ran Sydney Opera House. I think Sydney Opera House could relish the trip up. I know he ran it at the weekend, but he just didn't run the race. And O'Brien's don't really run a race the first time out. It's mainly just their best string white. Yeah, right, we're going to look at my anti-post selections, right? These are my selections. These are the ones I probably tell you to back, right? So the first one is Japan for the Derby. I think 10 to 1 is still value. Yeah, I've already talked through it, and I just feel Japan is a decent enough animal. Brother, I think, to Sir Isaac Newton, who is a decent horse, not brilliant, but I think Japan is probably just a bit better. We're going to go then, we're going to look at the Diamond Jubilee in the Royal Ascot. I think Blue Point could run in this, but he could also run in the 5 furlong. I don't know. It's hard to know where he goes, so I'd probably stay away from that at the moment. The next one is the Ascot Gold Cup, and I'm going to go with Stradivarius. I can see Cross Counter is thrown in here now, and has been back from 12 to 1 into 13 to 2. I mean, he won a Melbourne Cup and all, and it's a big handicap, and he won out in Dubai, but he wasn't against Stradivarius, he wasn't against Vazirabad. I don't know if Vazirabad, I think, is injured or something. I don't think so. The only, I can't see Capri turning Stradivarius over. I can't see him. He has been injured, and he hasn't been at the full peak last season. He wasn't at his full peak, and I don't think he's going to ever get back to that St. Leger winning. He did get the run of the race, no question about it. He got such a good ride by Moore. Everything went perfect for him that day. I think at an outsider's perspective, I think Southern France at 20 to 1 is in each way you could be looking at, because I think Kew Gardens could be rerouted to other races because they already have enough here. But for me, that selection is definitely Stradivarius, and 2 to 1 is a very, very tempting price. We're going to go on to the Coronation Stakes now, right? Look, Skitter Scatter, just wonderful. They're all brilliant horses. Look, I really like them. But Newspaper of Record, I hope this horse comes here. She is my next one for the Coronation Stakes at Royal Ascot at 9 to 4 is Newspaper of Record. She bolted up in the Breeders' Cup, and I think she's a pure speed horse. Over the mile, she will absolutely fly. If it was good to firm, hopefully she comes over, and I think she will be. She's just a really good horse. I remember Lady Aurelia's half sister ran in America. I think it was her first run over 4.5 furlongs, and she fucking bolted up like Lady Aurelia. And she could be worth looking just to keep an eye out, because Wednesday Ward does love the old Royal Ascot. I think it could be worth just keeping an eye on. For the Commonwealth Cup now, I don't think Sergei Prokofiev is worth a 5 to 1. I don't think he's worth a bet at that. I think 10 Sovereigns, hopefully the mile doesn't work out and he goes back to this, because I think he'll absolutely bolt up. I think Calax is the danger, but whether Calax comes to this race or not is a different story. He is really, for me, the only danger so far. Yeah, and I think 10 Sovereigns at 7 to 2 or Calix at 8 to 1 are the bets for that. And I will be backing probably Calix at the moment, but I might have a small bit on what's his name? 10 Sovereigns. Right. Yeah, look, I think that's kind of 3 anti-post selections for the flat season. Look, we're going to have a look at the my horses that my horses to keep inside of this season. We're going to start off with the two that have already ran, right? The first one is Amadeo Modigliani. I think, look, if you're looking, I've backed him both times and he's been beaten. But look, that's the way it is. I feel he will improve. Or actually, sorry, I didn't back him the second time. I was thinking of backing him, but I didn't. Sorry. I feel the first time he's just out for the run. The second time, kind of out again. He looked as if he was going to win. But Moore kind of got boxed in, and you know it's hard in the flat racing. I feel O'Brien really likes this horse, and I feel he's going to increase, maybe increase the trip. I know there's the Curragh Gold Cup and stuff like that, and maybe he might find that Pat with not vast amounts of numbers entered in the race, being declared and running in the race. It's not really a great race. I don't know why it's still a Grade 1, to be honest, or Group 1. I think it might be changed soon enough. But there are a few good horses that actually win it, so I think it might actually, you can see both sides why it might stay as a Group 1. And then he can run in the mile as well. He might run for the what's it called, the Queen Anne Stakes in Royal Ascot. He might be ended into that and actually come up and run a very good race. I think he will like the firmer ground during the summer. I know now it's okay, the ground is okay at the moment. It's kind of still more on the National Hunt side. Yeah, that's number 1 anyway. Number 2 is Never No More. Look, this horse after running 2 races and he won. He won I think it was a 1,000 guineas trial or 2,000 guineas trial over the weekend in Leopardstown. Look, he beat Mad Moon, and Mad Moon was a very promising 2-year-old, and he beat him comfortably enough. I know he already had a run and Mad Moon didn't. I think he got a small bit of weight off him as well, if memory serves me correct. I'm not too sure on that. But he ran it very impressively. Moore gave him, just was off the bridle going into the straight kind of, and he just grinded it out. I was there watching him in Naas. I was there. He won a handicap, and I was shocked at the price, and I was shocked that Moore wasn't riding him as well. I know Moore is the first jockey for O'Brien, or for Coolmore, we'll say, and I was surprised. But yeah, look, Dunica is still a class jockey, and yeah, fair play to him. I think he will. There's plenty of races for him to win over the season. The next one I'm going to do is Skitter Scatter. Look, boys, if she doesn't win the 1,000 guineas, that's okay. There's always the one in Ireland as well, and there will be more. She's already won her Group 1 and whatever, but I think there's still more to be given for her to give, like. And then we're going to go, I think it's 4 now. We're going to go Southern France. I think the more this horse goes for the trips, as in 2 mile, 2.5 mile, the more you're going to see, the better of him. This horse can really stay, and he really, really wants. He's a really solid animal. Like, I think he's definitely worth a play in the Gold Cup. Yeah, and there is other staying races. There is the Irish Ledger, which is open to the 4-year-olds and open like 3-year-olds as well. So I definitely can see him running into the big staying races during the season. I don't want to give you horses that aren't going to be that are just decent animals that are not going to do too well. I want to give you good animals that are going to do well. I think that, yeah, we're going to leave it at that for now. Obviously, in terms of when the flat season really starts to kick on, we'll keep having more and more. Yeah, that's really it. Just my main selection right now, if I was to narrow down to one horse for an anti-post selection, is Stradivarius for the Gold Cup. I think he's going to definitely go there, and he's definitely going to be very solid, and he'll be very close to winning it. Frankie will give him a great ride, and you know yourself, Frankie's just Frankie. He'll just get the horse gone. Like last year. Look, last year I thought Stradivarius was a better horse than what was the winning margin. Vizierabad was a brilliant horse. I love Vizierabad, but I think Stradivarius is just better. And I think Stradivarius has so much talent. Like, you've seen Sir Eric going up for the National Hunt, and he'd been a very decent animal in the National Hunt. It's sad news and all, but I think just to be able to beat him, and like beat him comfortably enough, like on ground that's not brilliant for him. Yeah, look, that's it anyway. We're going to end it at that because I talked enough. Yeah, just a few anti-post selections and stuff, you know, horses to follow. Yeah, look, like, subscribe. I'll do more of these. Now. Yeah, and that's really it for this week. See you.